Okay, now we're going to work with the document some more, our banner poster document. So we're going to want to bring it back in, and you're going back to your folder, and here I'm in Bridge. I'm just going to double click it and it will bring it back into Photoshop. Okay, so we're going to actually put 4 images down here. And remember, we're creating a poster that celebrates the thermal features in Yellowstone. All right, so let's actually grab some images, and we're going to get those from Bridge. So File, Browse in Bridge. All right, and then you need to back up maybe to your Practice Pics for Students folder. And you see I have a bunch of images now in here under the number 1. Now we're only going to be using 4 of these, but let's actually grab 6 images and we'll see how they look, and we'll see which ones we want to choose. So we have this sapphire spring one, this bubbling one, tourist selfie, Liberty Cap, mud pot, and then this the Midway Bridge. Now notice these images are very different from each other. These are going to be smaller images in our poster. And when you're doing this assignments with images that you've taken or images I give you, you want to choose a variety of images, probably people in at least one of the images. Okay? Because if they look too much alike, the viewer gets bored with that. Right? It's confusing. It doesn't look professional. So you really need a good variety, nice color variety or textures variety. And you also, for this particular assignment, you're choosing square images. So that means you're going to have to crop your images in squares. It doesn't matter the size, the resolution size, as long as it's not too small. Because we're actually going to create small images for this portion of the project, but they are going to have to be square. So 1000 by 1000, 1200 by 1200 pixels. You're going to have to be square. So I've already done that. I've cropped these into squares and I exported them individually, and I'll show you how to do that in a separate thing. Okay, so I've chosen these 6, and like I said, we're only going to use 4. Now this time what we're going to do is we're going to go in through Tools, your Tools menu in Bridge. You're going to go down to Photoshop. Okay, and then you're going to go down to Load Files into Photoshop Layers. This way they load into one document. So Photoshop, from your Tools menu, to Load Files into Photoshop Layers. This is nice. It's going to be a separate document from the one we're working on. Okay, and here it comes. But it's going to be quicker than having them all in the individual documents. So hopefully you've collapsed your libraries panel by double clicking on the tab, and you have all of these different images in here. Notice they're different sizes. They're all squares though. That one's really small compared to this mud pot one. Okay, but anyways, what you're going to do now is you're going to grab them. Okay, you're going to click on one, the top one, and then you can hold down Shift and click on the bottom one. All right, and you're going to be in your Move tool here. Expand that. You're going to grab those and go up to the other tab, which hopefully is your project you're working on, your banner project. You're going to come down towards the middle, hold down Shift, and then let go. Okay, I'm getting a message here. I'm just going to click OK. It's going to convert colors. Okay, and there they are. Now the one is on top, one of the big ones, so you see it there. I can make it invisible and see the other ones. Let's go ahead and change the order. So I'm going to click somewhere else to deselect them as a group. And I'm actually going to bring the smaller ones on top. We know that tourist one, the tourist selfie one, is real small. So let's bring that to the top. The mud pot one is really big. So let's make sure that's on the bottom. Okay. Liberty Cap. Let's bring that one there. Okay, so this allows you to play around a little bit with the layers there. So get some practice at doing that. Okay, so we're going to actually create some guides for this part of our project. So remember we created those 2 guides last time that vertical one and the horizontal one. So what we're going to do is we're going to show those guides. They're still there, but they're just not showing. Okay, so go to the View menu to show guides. Okay. Okay, and there they are. We're not going to use those guides again, but I want you to see where you can access that. Let's actually create some other guides. This time let's create a new guide layout. A new guide layout. Okay. And so it's bringing up a default, and we actually only want 4 columns. So click 4 there, or type in 4. Okay, for the gutter, we're going to actually put in 40 pixels, so 40px. Okay, instead of percent. Okay, we're going to actually do some margins here. We don't want a top or bottom margin, but we do want a left margin of 300 pixels, so 300 px. I'm going to tab over 300 px to the right. Okay, so that margin is checked. I did a left margin of 300 px, a right margin of 300 px. We want to clear the existing ones, that horizontal and vertical 50%, those 50% guides. Let's clear those so there's not too many lines on there. It's going to be confusing. Of course, these guides do not print out in your final document. They're just for your creation purposes in aligning where the pictures are going to go in your document. All right, and we're going to click OK. All right, we see these guides here. We're going to be putting 4 pictures in here. And it's going to look really nice for a poster that celebrates the thermal features in Yellowstone. So we're going to resize our images to fit into these columns here. But let's talk a bit about selecting images. Say you have a lot of images in a pile like this. You can select them by clicking on the layer panel over here. Okay, but that can kind of be a hassle. One thing you can do is you can right mouse button over the top of the pile, and you'll see all of your images listed there. Okay, and so you can go to it that way, to the image you want. Another thing you can do is you can come up here to auto select and click that. You'll want to make sure, for our purposes, to make that layer, so we'll just select one image. Okay, so whenever you select onto something, it will select that. Now the problem is say you want to get to a bottom one, you're going to have to move these to get to it. Okay, and then whenever you make sure you're on the move tool, just like that. As soon as if I accidentally select this, it's going to then grab that one. So you can leave that unchecked. Instead, you can click Command and hold down Command, which will give you sort of the features of auto select temporarily. Notice it's giving you some of the parameters there as you're holding that down. It's giving you different parameters of your location, and it's also giving you smart guides as you move it around. Okay, so as I said, I have 6 images here, but only 4 slots. We're going to play with them to see how well they look, depending on the image and the location and so forth. So we're going to select 4 out of the. Hold down Command to select it and then move it over. Okay, let's get the bigger ones here. And let's hold down Command, make sure you're on the Move tool. Accidentally did a transformation there I didn't mean to do. Okay, and let's take this bubbling thermal JPEG and let's snap it into the furthest guide there to the right. Okay, and then we're going to scale it down. Now, as you recall, you can do that by going to make sure it's selected, the image you want, Edit, Transform to scale, but you can also do Free Transform, which would be all those functions. using Command T. So let's do the Command T option. Okay, and now we can scale it. Please remember to hold down Shift. Let me show you what it looks like if you don't hold down Shift. Okay, it looks kind of funky, so we're going to undo that. Though we are bringing it down to a square shaped. But we want to hold down Shift, and then we want to fit it there into the guide. Okay, and let's do another one now. I'm going to go ahead and check that, or push Enter to confirm that edit. Okay, so I'm going to Command click onto the sapphire pool image. I'm going to Command T again to get the free transform option, and I'm going to hold down Shift as I bring it down, but I do want to make sure that it's in the guide there, and you see it lining up with this image, right? And it's snapping to the guide there. Make sure you're snapping it to the right guide. I'm going to hold down Shift and bring it down until it conforms. It's lining up with that guide. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and check that. I'm going to commit to that change. Now I'm going to click Command and grab this other image. I'm going to put it to the side for a moment. I'm going to Command click on the Mud Pots image, and I'm going to put that there now into that. Actually, I'm going to come from this angle. Okay, and then once again, I'm going to Command T to go to transform. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to bring this to that guide so that it lines up. It's kind of hard to see that. Really blends in with the transparency. I'm going to just guess that that's right. Okay, I'm going to commit to that change by pushing Enter. Don't want to move. Now I'm going to click Command and click on this one. And I'm going to line it up with the other ones into this last guide. I'm going to click Command T, hold down Shift, and then line it up with those guides. Okay. Not bad, but I want to get those other images now. I commit to that change. I want to fit this on screen, Command 0, and there is the tourist selfie way over here. I bring that over. Liberty Cap is over here. Bring that over, and now I'm going to fit that in screen again so I see it. Okay, now I'm going to actually take Liberty Cap, and I'm going to just put it here. So I'm going to decide if I want to use that one instead. So Command T, make that bigger, coming down the Shift. Okay, I'm going to commit to that. And now the tourist selfies. Remember to always press Command. I'm forgetting to do that myself. Click Command and then drag the tourists, and I might replace Mud Pots with the tourists. Now I'm going to actually have to scale this one up. So Command T, holding down Shift. Since it's a square, it should work there. And then press Enter. Now, I want to make sure all these are lines from the top edge. So I'm going to grab them all by clicking the top one, and then holding down Shift and clicking the bottom one. And you see these are all your align tools here. That one allows you to align the top edge. So watch the top edge as I click that. Okay, and you see that they're not exactly the same size. The tourist one is a little bit smaller. So I might come back here. I'm going to unclick all those to deselect all of the group. But I'm going to click on the tourist one, and I might need to resize that a little bit. Okay, now it is changing the proportions, but that's okay because it's so small you won't be able to notice that. Okay, once again I'm going to grab those, and then I'm going to align those up here to the top edge, and that looks pretty good. Now, as you recall, we actually have 6 images there, and we only need 4. I like the variety of these images. You probably want people in at least one of your images. It's harder to see the center of interest in this image and in this image, but this has some nice variety here with this leading line. Okay, this has a variety of color, and this has a strong focal point there with the Liberty cap. Okay, but underneath we do have that, I love that mud pot, that bubbling mud pot image, but I think the tourists are probably better than that. I don't know, it's up to you what you want to choose. They're pretty strong images. Okay, and then underneath the Liberty cap was that bubbling thermal image. That one is kind of hard to tell what that is with that size, so I am going to leave that the Liberty cap. So you can go ahead if you want to, and you can delete. So I'm going to delete the bubbling thermal by pushing the delete key after selecting the layers panel, and I'm also going to delete mud pot. Okay, so we can get rid of these guides now, or so you can clear the guides entirely, but you may end up wanting to have them for your use later, just in case you want to realign things. So you may simply want to go to show, and then you're actually hiding guides because you're going to unselect that. All right, so we're going to add some text to this and a little bit more variety to this just to make it pop. Okay, but let's go ahead and save this. So remember, we are going to save versions of this. You want to keep the earlier version in a different file. So go to File, Save As. And we're still in our layers practice. Your last name is the file name. I'm going to do 01 to show this is the next version of this particular project. And then you're going to click it. It's going to go back into my Morris work folder, and then click Save. And yes, you always want to maximize compatibility.